The Fall 2020 Hinkle, Pryor, and Fisher Parent Empowerment Conference. Realities for a New Reality. 2 days, 25 workshops, renowned speakers and presenters, by families, for families, nearly 40 hours of unfiltered and straightforward information, made possible by the leaders in disability rights advocacy for over 45 years, Hinkle, Pryor, and Fisher, attorneys at law. So welcome to this session of our ongoing encore presentation series of the Fall 2020 Hinkle, Pryor, and Fisher Parent Empowerment Conference.
Thank you for attending the Hinkle, Pryor, and Fisher Virtual Parent Empowerment Conference. My name is Maria Fisher, and I will be the moderator for this workshop. This is a two-part workshop presented by Special Olympics New Jersey. Part one is entitled Return to Activity and is presented by Amelia Hamilton and Chris Tobin. Part two is entitled Reflections on My Experience as Assistant Commissioner of Education for Student Services and the Importance of Understanding the Power and Responsibilities of Districts. And this is presented by Carolyn Morano. Before we begin, we just ask all of our participants to mute their microphones throughout the session. The workshop will last around an hour, and if time allows, the presenters will take questions at the end. Please ask your questions through the chat feature. Additionally, if you have not already done so, we highly encourage you to sign up for this evening's keynote speaker, which is being delivered by former New Jersey Supreme Court Justice Helen E. Hones, entitled Autism After COVID-19, Navigating a World Where Everything Changed and Nothing Changed. Justice Hones is also the parent of an adult child with autism and will provide a unique perspective on the times that we live in. She's both an inspiring person and inspirational public speaker, and you won't want to miss this. So please sign up for that if you haven't already. It is now my pleasure to welcome our presenters. We have Amelia Hamilton. Amelia has been involved with Special Olympics since she was in high school, both as a volunteer and an intern. She graduated from the University of Delaware in 2017 with a major in Human Services and Disability Studies. She then went on to get her master's in public health and graduated from Westchester University of PA with her MPH in 2019. Amelia began working for Special Olympics New Jersey in November as the Healthy Communities Manager. Her role is designed to provide individuals with intellectual disabilities access to quality health care and provide year-round fitness and wellness opportunities. Her co-presenter is Chris Tobin, Field Service Manager with Special Olympics New Jersey. Chris Tobin has worked in the field of sports administration and athletics for the past 23 years and joined the staff at Special Olympics New Jersey in March of 2016. Combining his homegrown passion and his career, a father of three, Tobin took the lead of his oldest son, now a Special Olympics New Jersey athlete, and followed his enthusiasm and dedication to the movement. A former sports director with SONJ, Tobin now works in Field Services Department, where he focuses on the mission and vision of Special Olympics, working alongside athletes, coaches, volunteers, and families to highlight the abilities through sport and leadership. Our presenter for the second portion of the Special Olympics workshop is Carolyn Morano, Director of Inclusive Education, and I think one of the newest members of the SONJ family. Carolyn Morano is the former Assistant Commissioner for Student Services at the New Jersey Department of Education and received her JD from New York Law School. Carolyn is a member of the New York and New Jersey Bar Association and is currently the Interim Director of Inclusive Education for Special Olympics New Jersey. Okay, so Chris, I think you're taking the lead on this.
Yes, I am. Welcome, everybody. I see some familiar names on this group, so welcome. Anybody who I do not know. I know Maria had mentioned that if you do have questions of anything that we present, especially the portion that I'm going to be speaking with you guys about, I have my email address in my name, on the Zoom, so please feel free to reach out to me at that email address. If there's anything that I don't necessarily explain very well, or if you have future questions down the line, or if you pass anything along to anybody else, they're more than welcome to reach out to us as we move along. So one of the lucky things that I was able to do once everything happened back in March was be part of the solution of what it meant to get our athletes back participating and have the opportunity to participate in sport or some sort of activity when it comes to Special Olympics New Jersey programming. And what we did is we came up with our own, what we are referring to as our RTA. Everybody loves acronyms, but it's our return to activity. So if I say RTA, it's our return to activity. So we looked at guidance from the CDC, from Special Olympics International, and from the state of New Jersey, and through a collaborative effort through all of those agencies and organizations, as well as our own athletes and parents and guardians, we came up with our own RTA. We refer to it all as stage one, that we came up with, as to not be confused with the state of New Jersey's phases. So we named ours a stage one. So the first stage that we came up with was directed towards our fall activities. Now, our fall sports are what Special Olympics New Jersey uses as competitions in the fall, and that would be soccer, flag football, equestrian, cycling, and I'm forgetting something else, and golf. So what we did is that we wanted to make sure that regardless of an athlete's ability, desire, or possibly even more importantly, the ability to get back out onto a playing field, we were able to figure out a way for everybody to do something. So out of respect for athletes that possibly are in a group home and are not allowed to go out and do stuff because the DDD isn't allowing it, for athletes who are at high risk, whether it be for age or underlying conditions, and then for athletes who just want to get back out there, or maybe don't have, or maybe their coach didn't want to go back out and coach. Just trying to find a way to keep everybody engaged, find a way for athletes to participate, whether in person or at home. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to share the screen, which is our website, and it'll kind of breaks down what we do. So if you go to see the top of our website, our return to activity guidelines and links can be found at the top of our website. And basically it'll run you through every step of the way. As you can see, it was effective August 1st, 2020. It runs through every step of what we came up with as far as getting athletes back out. And obviously the guiding principle for everything we've done in all of this was for the health and safety of all members of our community, whether that be the athletes or the parents, guardians, coaches, volunteers, everybody. So there is a high risk waiver that we put out there that Amelia will go into. I'm sure she'll cover that a whole lot more intelligently than I ever could. But if you can go through the health and safety guidelines, you can expand on each of these. And it goes down to social distancing, wearing a mask, when you need to wear a mask, what our programs are doing as pre-event, what they do during the event, as far as what the guidelines are, is what we're saying is most effective, and then what we need to do post-event. That includes letting us know who and what athletes and what coaches and assistant coaches are going to be in attendance at each of those practices, temperature checks, all those types of things. We've given out toolkits to all of our programs that includes and not limited to cones, polyspots, thermometers, hand sanitizers, gloves, masks, all those types of things, just to make sure that people feel comfortable when it comes to the athletes and to the parents and guardians and as well as coaches about coming back out. One of the first sports that we were able to do that with is golf, which, if for those of you who know golf, you can be very far apart from people, and you could also be quite close to people. So it's understanding that when you're at a driving range, that maybe you're in one bay, you skip a bay, and then you have an athlete in the next bay. So you have that 10 feet of space in between each people. So it's understanding what those social distancing guidelines are and how we can properly utilize those things for our athletes and coaches. So another sport that we're going to have, so we just had 3 golf events that were run very, very successfully from everything that we've heard. And one of the gentlemen that works at Special Olympics New Jersey attended one of those events, and he was having a conversation with a family who told him that it's the father, son are the unified pair that play golf, and the mom was there as a spectator. And they impressed upon the employee from Special Olympics that that's the first time, other than his practice rounds, that was the first time the family's really left the house since March. They haven't done anything. And so we're talking the ends of September from March. So we took that as that's how much trust they had into the plan that we've put together, and how much love that this family and the athlete has for Special Olympics, that this was the reason why they came out of and maybe broke out of their bubble a little bit or broke out of their shell a little bit. So that's just a little side note, but it's it was a really cool story, and I share that story every chance I get, so that people understand that we really took a lot of time and went through this return to activity, and hopefully it's working out for the best. So we will have another in-person activity at the end of October, which is our cycling sectionals. And we've been able to split, well, we did a lot of our planning for this. We did a lot of keeping it regional so that people weren't traveling large distances, and it also kept our numbers down, which would be easier for us to maintain groups of 10 or less, and then also social distancing. And then also, if you have smaller groups, then you have a smaller need on the volunteer end, which brings less people in. So all things that we took into account for all of these events. So if you scroll down like I did on our website just a little bit farther, there's the high risk waiver and code of conduct waiver that we have for return to activity, which only needs to be filled out once in this time. Hopefully we'll never see it again. Then more information that are geared directly towards families and of athletes, for the coaches, and then some frequently asked questions if you wanted to go through any of those. There's also videos that were put together through Special Olympics International that helped give guidelines for having a practice if you're a coach. What it would kind of look like when you, as a parent or a guardian of an athlete, when you first arrive at a practice, what it might look like. Because we know that we're trying to keep it the same, but we obviously know, as everybody here knows, that things aren't the same right now. So we're taking the necessary precautions and the necessary steps to do everything completely as safely as possible. These are the fall activities that we mentioned. And what we also, I forgot to mention triathlon. We also were able to do is, as we step forward, our stage 1 is a certain amount of what we're allowing and how many people we're allowing to be at these events. If we get to stage 2, when it comes to basing on the guidelines of what the state of New Jersey says we can do for indoor activities, vice versa, all those things that are coming together, we may go up, but we've decided to take the most cautionary route. We're not pushing the envelope, but we're doing everything we can to get as many people back out as possible. That being said, as we move forward, our fall activities end in that last weekend of the last full weekend of October. So the 24th and 25th is the last full weekend of October. So that's when our fall activities are end in our calendar. So we realized that the next thing that are coming are all going to be, majority of them are going to be indoor sports. So while we do not have those all guidelines set yet, we are continuing to work towards them. And I'm personally involved with 2 focus groups and 2 large groups that are putting together our 2 largest participation sports that are in our spring, which are basketball and bowling. So obviously 2 more sports that are indoors. So we are working towards that. So, but I just wanted to show you that taking the lead from some of our coaches in the field, this additional opportunity was for programs, say like a tennis that competes in our summer season, or a bocce that competes in the summer season, to get in some activity now while it's still nice out. As long as it's outdoor, our stage 1 fall programming did not include those sports. So this is a way for a coach or a program to put in a form for us to approve of how they are going to go about having these practices outdoor in this time, so that we have now expanded our opportunity and our participation. Because once we don't know what the winter is going to look like. But if we can get them going now, if we can get our athletes out there now participating and engaging with each other and back with teams and back with our friends and back with teammates, then that we're all for it. So that's just another thing that we've been working on as well. Like I said, we are working towards the next winter sports, which a lot of them are, other than outside on the mountain and in the snow, we are working towards those. And then hopefully, as we move on, we will be doing more and more, where we will be doing more and more as far as the plan is concerned, but we will have more and more answers as we move along. So part of all of that, and this is going to segue into the virtual things that we're also offering, all of these sports also have a virtual, what we're calling virtual, but it's an at-home component to it. So if there are athletes that are not comfortable with coming out to, say, that golf sectional, we are having something for them virtually. If there is an opportunity for a cycling athlete, if they do not want to come in person, we will have a cycling virtual component where they can do it at home and submit the scores. So, and the flag football and soccer, while they are team sports and we weren't able to get those teams together to be able to do that, we are offering a skills component for those sports. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen. So all those, once again, all that information is on our SONJ website, and on that top banner you can click on that and you can go straight to that return to activities. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen right now, and hopefully that will segue right into the virtual components and then other virtual things that we are offering at SONJ for our athletes. And a couple of those that are definitely right down Amelia's wheelhouse and stuff that she's been heavily involved with creating. So Amelia, off to you. And like I said, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email at that email address that is under my name, that is next to my name. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Thanks for being here with us. I am going to share my screen. I have a little PowerPoint that you can all follow along with. So is everyone able to see my screen here? Okay, awesome. So as Chris did touch upon a lot of our return to activities, I'm going to continue to discuss the several health and fitness programming that we are currently offering for our athletes and unified partners. So during the beginning of this pandemic, we quickly had to shift the way we operate as an organization and really the way that we are used to engaging with our athletes. With the strict stay-at-home orders in place, we started hosting several virtual programs for our athletes. This was something new for most of us, and I'm sure you all can relate just by switching to a virtual workplace, kids learning online, virtual therapies, virtual fitness classes, and even sports. So health and fitness programs were especially important to us because for a lot of our athletes, sports is the only thing that really keeps them active and keeps them moving. So we began to host several online fitness classes, much like we would typically offer throughout the week at our sports complex. We have instructors come online via Zoom. They teach a 45-minute class to our athletes, unified partners, and family members are always welcome to join in. Athletes typically enjoy this live interaction, and they typically hop on early, 10 to 15 minutes early, just to say hi to their friends, or me if I'm on the class and the instructors. And we offer a variety of classes. So we do fitness, yoga, Zumba, which has become quite popular with our population, as well as cooking demonstrations and nutrition seminars. So we were beginning to host this a few times per week. And then in the month of September, it became so popular, and we were working with our virtual triathletes to come up with activities for them, since they couldn't do all 3 legs of the triathlon. So we had several instructors come online, and we actually hosted one live Zoom event every day for the month of September, Monday through Friday. So each and every day we had a solid group of athletes come on, and whether they were working out with us or making a healthy snack or having fun doing Zumba, it was great. And it was nice to have so many instructors that volunteered their time that we were able to pull this off. So that's a little bit about our virtual Zoom classes. In July, we launched our Total Body Challenge. So this is a completely virtual challenge. It's designed to help establish healthy lifestyle patterns for daily life. So there are daily challenge videos that are used to educate and help keep athletes active while at home. The daily challenge videos are posted for each topic. So we have fitness, nutrition, hydration, and mindfulness. We had a lot of our staff, coaches, and volunteers create video content for each of the topics. Athletes could participate by watching the videos each day, and they could earn incentive prizes by recording and submitting the code word that was stated in each of the videos. And the code word was the highlight of the video. We also incorporated our live classes into this challenge. So several of our athletes enjoyed logging on, participating in the live workout or seminar, and then they enjoyed listening for the code word as well. So the Total Body Challenge that was launched in July is still going strong. We're actually finishing up our fourth week session today. So it's been going on for 3 months now. And we have plans to begin session 4 starting on October 19th. So with that, there's also another challenge that was recently created by Special Olympics North America, and this is a Stride Challenge. This is designed to get athletes to get up and get moving. Athletes can choose to walk, run, or roll in a wheelchair, and participants must record their weekly distance. So we're going to incorporate this into our already existing Total Body Challenge by encouraging athletes to walk, run, or roll, and record their weekly distance when they submit their daily code words. So overall, the virtual opportunities that we have been able to host throughout the last 6 months have definitely expanded our opportunities for health and programming for our athletes. Before any return to sport activities, the health and programming was really the only form of movement that some of these athletes were getting. So by hosting the live events, we were able to expand the live interaction and engagement, not just among our athletes, but also our volunteers that volunteer their time to instruct the class. And really, it helped get athletes throughout the state. So we are located in Central Jersey. So a lot of our athletes cannot travel to our sports complex to do a 45-minute workout. It's not possible. So with the virtual events, we have been able to expand for athletes across the state, which has been really nice. For the virtual opportunities, like I said before, have allowed several volunteers to get involved that have not been involved before, or continue for those volunteers that have always been involved with our organization. So I'm going to switch slides here. And I'm going to shift gears into our in-person activities that we're offering. And this is outside of the sports that Chris had mentioned earlier. So we had a dedicated team, like Chris had said, help us create our return to activity guidelines. And we continue to monitor with what the state of New Jersey and what the CDC, as well as Special Olympics International guidelines are, in order to be able to offer these opportunities for our athletes and our families. So recently we started on Tuesday nights at the sports complex. We're offering outdoor fitness, Zumba, and yoga. We currently have 2 sessions running with a 30-minute break in between to sanitize any equipment or the high touch areas. So again, following along with those return to activity guidelines, we are taking those very seriously. We are having check-in stations where we do a temperature check. Athletes are required to answer a survey. It's a brief survey, but just basically asking about those symptoms of COVID and traveling, any questions about traveling or how they're feeling and how they're really doing. So just checking in with them, and then we record all of their information in case anything were to happen and there was a COVID case. We have contact information and all of that, and everything follows along with our guidelines and that return to activity plan. So I, as you can see from this picture here, on this PowerPoint, we are blessed with a big outdoor area that we are able to host events like this, and we're able to host them quite often throughout the week. So we strategically set up the athletes and space them out so that way we are able to follow those strict guidelines that we that are in our return to activity plan. So while we have yoga, which is in this picture here, you can see that our athletes are distanced throughout the turf. We have cones set up, just kind of separating groups. We have the instructor also separated from the groups of athletes. And while we have yoga or fitness or Zumba, whatever's going on, the other end of the turf, we're offering bocce, so recreational bocce. And this is just another opportunity for our athletes to get out and get moving if they feel comfortable. So for some of our athletes, Zumba or yoga might not be their thing, but they're able to come out and play a little game of bocce. So again, it's just another opportunity that's completely optional and just recreational for fun. So if they don't feel comfortable coming to any in-person activities, we're still continuing to offer those virtual opportunities as well. So we hope to continue to offer these programs for our athletes. And I know Chris had mentioned with the shift of the fall into the winter, we hope that we'll be able to come up with a plan to be able to offer some opportunities like this indoors. So lastly, I really just want to highlight some of the successes that we've experienced. And I know Chris's story was a big highlight and a huge success. And we hear that a lot from our athletes and our families. But first, I just want to say that the health and safety of our athletes is our #1 priority. And we understand it's important to offer both virtual and in-person programming because right now everyone's at a different place. So being able to offer both of those opportunities for our athletes to stay engaged has been a huge success. Second, all of the health and fitness programs that we do offer. We continue to engage the athletes and the volunteers who are a part of the events, either in person or virtual. So keeping that engagement there, so that way when we eventually are back and in full swing, we still have those dedicated volunteers that are willing to come out to our events. Next, with a lot of our virtual programming, we've been able to engage with athletes throughout the state that we would not normally engage with in person. And like I had mentioned, just because where we are located, we're able to get athletes throughout the state, which has been great. So because of the virtual events. And then last, but certainly not least, I want to mention that our athletes and families have been very appreciative of what we can offer and the activities that we are able to offer. So it definitely was not easy coming up with these guidelines, and it took a whole team of people at SONJ to be able to come up with the plans for return to activity and plans for offering both virtual and in-person, and the continued efforts in health and fitness programming. But it was something that was totally worth it. Just seeing the smiles on athletes' face as they do get to come into, the sports complex and play bocce outside, or if they get to log on to a Zoom call, just being able to see the smiles on their faces. So it is a lot of hard work to follow the health and safety guidelines, but it is worth it. And I have some resources here. I can also email these out, or if you want to reach out to me, this is just kind of where everything lives on our website, as far as virtual events, the Total Body Challenge, the Stride Challenge, and then any health, fitness, and nutrition resources. And they all do live on our website, our SONJ website. But feel free to reach out to me if something, sparks your interest, or you want to learn more about something. I would be happy to answer those questions. And my email is on this next slide here. So thank you for having me, and I will turn it over to Carolyn at this point. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, everybody. So before I start, there are several Carolyn Moranos in the room, which is a little like a Harry Potter movie. But I want you to know, Maria, I'm sorry. My team is here, and they were unable to get in. So I didn't want to interrupt, and I sent them my link. So it's really not all me, although I have good self-esteem. It's a little strange. So I apologize to everybody if there's any confusion. I'm going to introduce my team as we move forward.
I'm glad that you said that, because I was actually starting to get extremely concerned that you were like being bounced out, but I kept seeing you and I kept letting you back in. I was actually going to get up and go get Christina here, who's our techie person, and be like,
I'm
something's
sorry.
really bad.
So I'm going to, not everybody is visual, but Lauren Tindorf has now become Lauren Tindorf, which is great. She's a team member. Karen Lewicki is me. Give a wave. Oh, okay. There's Emily Springle. She's me too. Hi. Okay. And there's Kathy Brown. They're all me.
Okay, sure. All right. Now
I apologize, everybody. Good afternoon. Of course, I used to work for the Department of Education, so I too have a PowerPoint. I'm going to share my screen with you. And I'm going to run through this fairly quickly. But it was, let's see. There we are. Let's see if that works. Okay. You gave me such a nice introduction, Maria, that I don't have to do this. I just did want to point out to you guys that I have several certificates. I'm an overachiever, but all of those certificates were necessary to bring me to what was my final job in public education as the Assistant Commissioner of Education. Let's see, she's not working. Why is that? There I am. So I've held a bunch of different jobs, and just as an aside, one of the things that brought me, I am not was not a special education teacher. These are in reverse order, right? So I was an English teacher, a high school English teacher, and a typical high school day for me, I worked in Newark, which is where I went to school. And most of my students were underperforming by 3 to 6 years. And so it was there that I learned about modifications and accommodations in just a general way. And as I moved through my career, by the time I became a department chairperson in the high school, I was responsible for the special education department. And it was then that I became acutely aware of what kids were not getting or what kids were supposed to get and were not getting. And it was a really, it was an eye-opening opportunity for me to sort of take up advocacy in schools and pursue a passion that led me to becoming directors of special services as well as the assistant commissioner of education. So my point of view is unique in that I had what a lot of people refer to as a 30,000-foot view. So as we, sort of go through our lives and we work in districts or we work in places, we have, it's the way that we do things there. And I got a chance to see how everybody did things. So, I had friends in other places and I knew a lot of other districts, but we have 600 plus districts in the state of New Jersey, not counting the approved private schools. And so these were some of the things that I thought about when I was asked to do this presentation. Districts have a very different way of interpreting inclusion and a very different way of interpreting the law. Child study teams operate differently. Leadership is everything. That's been my experience, right? Because if you have to make a change, you need the support of leadership. Relationships matter, not just among us, but particularly with parents and particularly out of the gate. Language matters. The way that these are all well-meaning and good people, dedicated educators, but those kids and the difference in language is really challenging. Funding matters. How are schools and districts using the money that they get from the federal government and from the state government in a way that best serves children and their families? Nothing new here. Change is very difficult. It's glacial, and the willingness to change is really everything. So for me, at the end of my career at the state, I became introduced to Special Olympics New Jersey in a different way. I was working with the commissioner. We found money that had not been spent. He allowed me to put together some, in your mind, if you just imagine big piles of money, because that's what they were, money that had been given as federal funding that hadn't been used and was, again, in my mind, sitting in a closet. So we were able to identify 2 funding sources. And the funding source, one was for instruction and one was on the co-curricular and school life side. And that was a passion of mine as well as the commissioners. And we were able to connect with Special Olympics New Jersey. I met Heather Anderson and walked into the office and said, we have all this money, how do we make it work? And that was the beginning of my relationship with Special Olympics New Jersey and my education as to what Special Olympics New Jersey is and what the people that work for and with Special Olympics New Jersey are. And the last bullet there says what I thought I knew. And that is consistent across the state. What you think Special Olympics New Jersey is and what Unified Champion Schools are and what Special Olympics New Jersey really is may be 2 very different things. And so I'm kind of on a tear to make sure that everybody knows what we do. So working with Unified Champion Schools, this is the goal, right? To shape a generation that welcomes everyone, inclusion, building on values, principles, and practices, and the impact of Special Olympics. These are just words that come from our UCS website and some of the values that come from Special Olympics New Jersey. And these are the things that are foundational to the work that we do in schools. I like the fancy stuff, but doesn't always serve me. So inclusion in school life, this is how we differentiate in a way for the work that the department that me and all the other Carolyn Moranos in the room work in right now. So we are the Department of Inclusive Education. And so we look at kids from early intervention to 21, school-age children, right? And so we're looking at what is no doubt systemic change, right? So we're aimed at promoting social inclusion for students with intellectual disabilities through intentionally planned and implemented activities. This isn't a throw it against the wall and see it sticks. These are things that are proven, they're tried, they're true. They work virtually, they work in hybrid models, and they work in person. And we are very excited by the interest in the work that we do. Research supports everything. This is the University of Massachusetts has been working with Special Olympics New Jersey for a long time. Over 10 years, as a matter of fact. And as you might imagine, those of us in the room, I think, are very clear on this. When you bring students with and without intellectual disabilities together in meaningful ways and sustain their involvement across multiple years, it impacts the perceptions and attitudes of students, not just students with disabilities, but all students. And students who participate in and create inclusive schools bring the acceptance beyond the school building. Kids who teach adults things. These are the components of UCS. We have inclusive youth leadership, which is a personal favorite of mine. Karen Lewicki, who is a Carolyn Morano out there, is responsible for that on our team. And we are moving towards from little kids, real little kids, to students who are ready for transition, to work with partners who are neurotypical and to start looking at decision making and collaboration and independence. Unified sports, real involvement, not just hey kid, come on and play, right? But a team in a way that a team could and should be a team for everyone. Unified PE, Lauren Tindorf, who's out there in a number of other ways, but particularly with Unified PE. She has her EDD, and we are relying on her heavily to help schools understand the value of Unified PE and what it should look like. Whole school engagement really speaks to other social aspects of school life and how, and I think this is a great time for this kind of work since schools are so involved with social emotional learning as well as equity. So we are excited to help schools put some of these things into effect. Schools are embracing acceptance and tolerance, and districts across the state are engaged in programs that promote inclusivity. And I think what I've learned and what I see all the time is it's okay if we keep hammering what that really is, because the goal really is an organic acceptance. And there are a lot of things that come into play, but I think that from a state and a district level, we have discovered that we need to teach some of these skills, and that UCS works beautifully with those kinds of learning programs. Some of the things that UCS is about, I love the idea, but we talk about opportunity, right? Every child is different, with or without disabilities. And so, you know, I always tell the story about my sister is very shy and would not be interested in this kind of stuff, but the opportunity is there so that maybe one day, if she felt like being part of things, she could be. The reduction of bullying and teasing and offensive language it's not a panacea, right? It's not a magic pill, but it is a result of the work that is done at the school and the district level to bring acceptance to difference. And the social interaction, you can't put a value on that, I think. Here we are, not just me, but everybody. These are our email addresses. We are a small but mighty team. Kathy Brown at the bottom is the backbone of this team. She is the person who oftentimes tells us all what to do. Because we are growing exponentially. We brought on 30 new school districts just over the summer. We're on a tear to ensure that folks know who we are and what we do and how important we are in the lives of children and their families. So that's it for me. I'm obviously interested in questions or comments or concerns. We can be reached via email or on our website, and I'll make sure that Maria, you can send everything out to folks if that's okay.
That would be great. Yeah, if you wanted to,
Oh, want that back?
no, it's okay. I was gonna say, if you and Amelia, if you wanted to share your PowerPoints with us, come Monday, we're going to send out to everybody who's on a particular session, whatever handout you had. And Chris, we can put the link to the SONJ website, or if there was something else that you wanted to include, you can send that to us also to send out. So we will open the floor up for questions. If anybody wants to ask a question through the chat room, that would be great. If anybody has any questions, I know we had a few comments while this was happening of people just saying that the website is like a wealth of information, and thank you for having it all up. And somebody was talking about that they're doing a virtual run, I think this weekend, or so. I've done 2 virtual runs so far, so they're exciting and they're fun to do. So I'm actually excited that that opportunity is being still given to volunteers and supporters to be able to do that stuff. So do we have any questions for the team here? Any questions, comments, anything at all?
Maria, this is Bharat Ramani, Devesh's father speaking.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Great. I was on something else, and then I looked at Carolyn's presentation. Wonderful presentation, and thank you for that. I have been a lifelong entrepreneur and a technologist, and so we are a group of parents in East Coast and West Coast. We are trying to create something very different. We are bringing in new technologies which can bring about change in our children's life. So our focus is to create an entrepreneurial ecosystem. We are creating a startup ecosystem. It's just a beginning of a project. It's still a long way off, but we are creating a fund and which will invest in technologies which can improve the quality of life for people on the autism spectrum. So it's the first time. Globally we are trying to create something where we'll be collaborating with companies in Australia, in India, in US and Europe, all different sites. But we are looking at technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, robotics, AI, machine learning. All these new things are going to really bring about a change in our children's life. And with COVID, it has been a real game changer in the sense that it has been negative and positive both. It has pushed the technology paradigm to an extent where what we were thinking from 5 years hence is going to come, in few years' time. And I see so many advances in augmented reality and virtual reality. I was on another conference in AR and VR, and then I saw Carolyn's presentation, and I just got attracted. I said, let me see what it is, and really impressed with what y'all are doing. So I feel we have to really collaborate very closely with new advances in technologies, and it be sports or anything, but this new things which are coming, especially our children require a lot of personalization. Each person on the spectrum is different, and we can bring about a change through artificial intelligence and machine learning, where we can collect the data, and that data can be used to create special programs for our children. So it's not one size fits all. It is one size fits one person.
Right. Well, I think that Special Olympics has that same view and vision in all that they do as well with all of the sports. It's never one size fits any one athlete. I know as a coach, I coach soccer. We're always looking to personalize it, individualize it. And I think that that's overall the theme of Special Olympics throughout, and it's unified. And the inclusive schools, all of that is to really bring exactly what you're talking about to bear. I don't know if Carolyn or Chris or Amelia would like to kind of chime in on something with regard to that.
I mean, when it comes to sport, and as you know, as Devesh is a quality athlete, is a very good athlete with us. From what we are all about athletes' abilities, and we cater to all of their abilities. So all of we offer 24 sports throughout the entire calendar year, and that might be going up. The number of sports might be going up because of the need for more activity and more participation for the amount of athletes that we have in New Jersey. But it's all about the ability. So we welcome ways to do things and all those types. But like we always say, that it's about, we focus on the abilities that all of our athletes have.
Absolutely. And these abilities have to be converted to independence and employment, So I feel Special Olympics has played a big role in my son's life, and thank you for that. I'm also met somebody from your Washington office, and we're trying to see what we can do, and using this Special Olympics as one of the components of what we are trying to do and partner with Special Olympics. But it is going to be very important in this time, where we look at sports and we look at different things. So the new experiences which will be coming it because of XR, the immersive reality which is going to come, even in post-COVID times, that will play a very, very important role in the whole, that is, we are social human beings, and, there are some new technologies which are coming, which will make us come back in a social life, which will be completely different from what we have seen in the past hundreds of years. And I think this new things which are going to come, and we need to see how we can, bring in new startups and new technologies which can work with Special Olympics, and we can work with different areas and make it a reality. So things, I am hopeful that in the next 3 to 5 years will bring about a lot of change.
And there was one thing that I neglected to mention, and I kind of skipped over it, is part of the, and you're talking about, Mr. Ramani, you're talking about the technology, is that we're offering esports. We started this fall with esports, and what the major one that we were going with was called Rocket League, which ironically I had never seen before we started talking about all of this, and it's across many platforms in the video gaming world. But ironically, I was watching a Major League Baseball playoff game, and Rocket League is right there as one of the ad panels behind home plate. And I was like, wow, it's a major thing. And we're offering it as an opportunity for some of our athletes to be able to engage with each other via computer more than just on Zoom and stuff like that. So that might be something that gets more traction. And that's partly a pun because it's playing soccer with race cars, action thing, that's a little bit. But that is something that we're going down that road a little bit too, Mr. Ramani.
Thank you. I really appreciate, I really love what all of y'all are doing, and thank you.
No problem.
Chris,
It's our pleasure.
Chris, maybe you could share a little bit, because I've heard about this esport part of what Special Olympics is getting involved with. I'm not even 100% sure what it means. Can you give us parent types who don't know what it is, like a little snippet of what?
I will do the best I can, since I still play on Atari 2600, for those of you out there that know what I'm talking about. Thank you, Francis. Thank you, Francis, for laughing at that. So apparently it's a video gaming, but it can be created into a tournament where you play the game of soccer, but you're driving a car. So it's all on the video screen, but you're playing a soccer game, but you're not a person, you're in a car. So they've created tournaments. I know that they've done, we've gotten some feedback from some of our college unified clubs that are doing that as a way to interact with their athletes that are with them. Because obviously for those of you that do or don't know that we do have college unified programs. So at a lot of the state colleges, so Rider, Drew, Montclair State, Rowan, obviously being some big ones, and Princeton. So there's a bunch of those around the state as well. So a lot of those college unified programs are doing that as well as a way to interact and keep in contact with athletes.
Excellent. Very cool. Any other questions, comments?
Maria, can I just add something?
Yeah.
Not to what Chris said, of course, this is shifting just a little bit. Unified Champion Schools, as you know, is the unification is of students with disabilities and students that do not have disabilities. And I want to say that if anybody who is on now has a child or a loved one or whomever, even if they go to an approved private school, we can hope to make connections with other schools, and that if your child or whomever is attending a school that does not have UCS, give us a call. We're happy to reach out and see if we can make connections in a way that is appropriate and comfortable, and just to expand, again, those social interactions.
Excellent. Great.
And for those of you that are on, I know not everybody has their camera on. Does everybody understand what we mean by unified partner or unified?
It wouldn't hurt maybe just to, because that is true.
Okay, so it's our unified sports, and I'll speak from our programming side of it outside of schools, but it works in schools as well, obviously. But it's an athlete with an intellectual disability playing alongside a person without an intellectual disability as partners. So in golf, it would be a person with a Special Olympics athlete with a non-Special Olympics athlete. Hopefully that creates a camaraderie, a bond, or something like that. It can be a family member. It can be like, I will say this, my oldest son is 11. He is a Special Olympics athlete. His two younger siblings, a 9-year-old girl and a 6-year-old boy, call themselves Collins Unified Partners. Because they want to be part of Special Olympics because that's what Colin does. So that's what it is. It's matching and pairing our Special Olympics athletes with intellectual disabilities with those athletes that do not have special intellectual disabilities. So hope that clears that up a little bit.
Yeah. And Devesh's dad had mentioned before about we should be working towards things for independence and employment. So one of the amazing things with Unified that is one of, to me, the most important underlying goals of it is if our athletes and our unified partners are together throughout growing up, they're going to see our athletes differently and hopefully open up workplaces to them, see their abilities the way we see their abilities. And I know that over my time with Special Olympics, I've heard such amazing stories of where this has actually played out, where we have somebody who in high school was a unified partner, goes off to college, starts a unified program there, and goes off and, becomes a teacher, and then, keeps this whole piece moving. So it's such a beautiful movement, and I'm always so excited by it. And, Devesh's dad is exactly right. All of this, it's great to play the sports. It's awesome, our mission, but at the end of the day, our mission is for this inclusive society, and we're really working towards it. So thank you guys for all the work that you're doing and for taking the time out of your busy days to share that here with us. And I just love, the smiling faces when you guys are presenting. You love what you're doing, and you can't help but do something well when you absolutely love it. So, thank you again for sharing all of that with us. Does anybody have any questions, any other comments? I know we're getting a lot of, thank yous, and a lot of people are doing unified runs and stuff I'm seeing on the side over here. So that they're sharing that information. So anybody else like to share anything?
I have a question. Is this going just for school age children, or this Special Olympics goes beyond school age children, correct?
Yes, it's for life.
That's correct.
I'll let Chris answer.
Yeah, no, Chris, one sec. The part that this is Carolyn. The part that I was talking about is it's a piece of Special Olympics. So the Unified Champions Schools is for school age kids. It works within the boundaries of school, but that's just a little piece of it. So you are correct.
Yeah,
Chris.
I think, was it Sharon? I think that was you mentioned that question. Yeah, as Maria said, this is a lifetime. This is one of those, we're with that organization that you can start at the age of 2 with our young athletes and start competing with Special Olympics at the age of 8. But we try to keep our athletes as long as possible. We have athletes that are in their 80s sometimes. We had an athlete join us last year for the first time competing in cycling at the age of 63. So we provide a lifetime of opportunity and a lifetime of participation and a lifetime of service at Special Olympics New Jersey and at Special Olympics all over the world, really. But we focus on the participation. It doesn't matter how fast you do it, how long you do it, how well you do it, but we're there to make sure that you're out there and have the opportunity to compete and compete to the best of your ability.
Chris, we have a technical question here. It says, how do we start with Special Olympics? Do we have to fill out an application? And then will you be contacting the person who filled out the application?
Linda, you and I can absolutely speak offline, but I will just give a quick synopsis. I'll shoot me an email after this if that helps. Basically, what we do is anybody is eligible to compete. What we need to do is fill out what we call a participation packet, which is some releases and athlete medical, and then we get the information from you, and then based on where you live in the state of New Jersey. Of the 21 counties, we break those 21 counties into 13 areas. So some of those areas encapsulate 3 counties based on participation numbers. So like Monmouth and Ocean County, where I live, is our area 6. So what we would do is we would find out based on where you live and what sports you're interested in. Then we try to meet you up with the area director that handles all of that. And we try to find a team, a program, a sport that would work out for you. And if there isn't one, we can start one. We can help you start one. So depending on the sport. So absolutely.
Great.
So if anybody, like I said, my email address is right there under my name. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, you are more than welcome to via email, and then we can go from there. I hope that works for you as well, Bharat.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments? Okay. You guys want to do a little bit of a wrap up, each of the 3 of you, or? No? Evie?
I mean, I think I've said a lot. I think maybe I've said too much. I don't know. I see a lot of smiling faces. Francis, hopefully I'll see you at cycling. So we look forward and like I said, and one of the things that's been, in our forefront, in our minds, and in our souls of getting our athletes back there, we're focusing on the participation. We just want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to get back out there, but obviously doing it with the safety and welfare of everybody involved. So I appreciate everybody's time.
Excellent. Carolyn?
Just very quickly, again, as a reminder, we're here. We're available to answer questions. We'd love to make sure that during the school day, kids are as included as they possibly can be. And we are very excited to continue the work across the state of New Jersey. So we're always interested in talking to folks. So thank you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Excellent. Amelia?
Maria, I'm sorry, Maria, one more thing, and I forgot, and a lot of people on here know this already, but everything that we do at Special Olympics New Jersey is free of charge.
Yes.
Just want to make sure I put that on there.
Absolutely.
Possibly one of the biggest points, and I completely blew right over it, but that's okay. So everything that we do and offer at Special Olympics New Jersey is free of charge. And Amelia can expound on this part. Is we are the largest organization in the world for health, for individuals with intellectual disabilities too. So Amelia can expound on that if she wishes as well, but everything is for free.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank you everyone for being on the call. Like Chris mentioned, we are the world's largest public health organization for individuals with intellectual disabilities. So with that being said, that is, the drive for being able to offer fitness and wellness opportunities year round, as well as our health screenings. So if anyone has any questions about that, we do offer health screenings in 7 different disabilities disciplines. So if anyone has any questions about that, feel free to reach out to my email, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Excellent. Well, thank you, all 3 of you, for being here, and for all the other Special Olympics employees back here as well, and everybody who joined in for the presentation. Thank you for participating. We are always pleased to have Special Olympics be part of our conference. So thank you for that. Everybody stay safe and be well, and hopefully we'll all see each other back on fields really soon. So, all right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching this encore presentation from the Fall 2020 Hinkle, Pryor & Fisher Parent Empowerment Conference. With 24 other presentations to view, there is plenty of additional information to help you become empowered. As a reminder, the information contained in this video is not a substitute for individual legal advice and does not create an attorney-client relationship. Copyright 2020, Hinkle, Pryor & Fisher, PC, Attorneys at Law. All rights reserved.